I had done in the early 1990s. I worked for a company called Big Bob's. This is after the flea market had closed, and Big Bob's. Oh God, at that time he was the biggest baseball card dealer in the world, and he was getting into comics. I did a show for him out in California, and I had the name of a company that I had met that sold Star Trek animation cells. So when I was in Anaheim, I found out where Venice, California was, and I spent a day going there, meeting the guy who had all the animation cells. And he had Batman ones, Superman, all the superheroes you could think of. And he had a bunch of Star Trek cells. Nobody wanted the Star Trek cells. I spent a couple $1,000 with him, and I bought a bunch. I paid through the nose because he knew that they were good, and I bought them with backgrounds. Okay, and the minute you wanted to see the cells, he had like 40 of each cell, but he only had one background to go with the 40 cells. So the backgrounds cost more than the cell. And the mistake I made was buying the backgrounds because I didn't realize that I was paying so much for them and that it would drive the price up. I would have been better off buying the 40 cells than buying the one cell with a background. But, that's a mistake I made. At any rate, here's a story for you. Nichelle Nichols is doing a Star Trek show. Philadelphia. I have a Star Trek collector in Connecticut, Kevin Huntley. I don't know if you know who he is. He was the biggest Star Trek collector I had. He would buy everything. And Kevin Huntley called me up and said, I have to work that weekend. He said, but I'm getting out early. He said, I could be down in Philadelphia. He said, I want to get Nichelle's autograph. She's the only one whose autograph I do not have. So during the show, I stopped at the table for a few minutes. I had Nichelle sign one or two things for me. And, I took the stuff she signed, brought it back to my booth. Later in the show, Nichelle is walking around and she sees me and she knows she signed a couple of things for me. So she comes over to me and we started talking. And I said to her, you know what I have that you probably would love to see? What? I have a Star Trek cell of you from the Star Trek animated TV show. You're kidding me. I've never, ever seen a cell from the Star Trek animated show. Could I see it? Sure. I pulled it out. I said, I have the background with it. And she says to me, wow. She said, how much is it? I said, I normally charge $150. I said, I could sell it to you for $100. And she says, $100? She says, I don't know if I could pay that much for it. I said, I can't go any lower. I'd love to go lower. So Nichelle and I talked for a while. She was making up her mind. And during that time, somebody else saw the Star Trek cells I had and bought one for $150 with the background. And, I sold it. And she says, I'm going to take the cell and the background. I said, it's the only one I have with your figure in it. I said, I have a couple of all the other figures. I said, I bought the most cells of Mr. Spock. And I said, and if you just saw what happened, the Mr. Spock one was the one that sold. So she says to me, yeah, I'm going to take it, but I have to give you a check. Would you take my check? I said, absolutely. I said, bring it back. Oh, I can't come back now. She said, I'll come at the end of the show. Okay. At any rate, here's what happened, and this is a beautiful story. I put the Nichelle cell in a bag aside for her, and I'm figuring she'll be back at the end of the show. Now, Kevin Huntley is supposed to come on that Sunday at the end of the show. And the show ends at 6 o'clock. And Kevin said he'd be there before 6. So I'm figuring this is going to work out well, because Nichelle will come to pick up the thing. Kevin will come, and he'll wait here. And then when Nichelle comes at the end of the show, she'll pick up the cell. Anyway, 6 o'clock, they're pushing everybody out of the dealer room. All the dealers are starting to load the hand trucks, and they're all moving stuff down the aisle. They're all getting out of there quick because they don't want to get tied up and wait behind a lot of other people. No Nichelle Nichols, no Kevin Huntley. So 5 after 6, Nichelle walks in, and she's with a girlfriend, and she says, this is my girlfriend from my sorority. And I'm pleased to meet you. And, she was in an African-American sorority. She told me the name of it, but I didn't remember the name. I didn't remember the name of her girlfriend. I pulled out the cell. I said, I want you to look at it. And I'm looking around. There's no Kevin Huntley. Everybody's leaving. And Nichelle says to me, she says, oh, I don't have to look at it. No, I want you to look at it, make sure it's perfect in every way. And I said, and then you can make the check out to me. And she pulls the thing out. She's looking at it. I purposely took the cell. I showed it to her girlfriend. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? And Nichelle says, we have to get out. We have to go to dinner. And I'm trying to stall, figuring maybe Kevin will show up at the last minute, but he didn't. So I wrapped up the cell. I had to get tape. I taped the whole package up. She makes out the check to me. I very slowly tell her how you spell my name, Lozowski, and she writes it out. She says, we really have to go to the show. And there was no Kevin Huntley, so what am I going to do? At any rate, she takes the thing, puts it under her arm, and starts walking away. And at that point in time, I see Kevin Huntley walking in the door on the other end of the room. And I waved to him, and he waves back to me. Okay? So Nichelle and her girlfriend are about 30 feet away. They're walking away. And I yelled out, Nichelle! And she turns around and looks at me. I didn't know what the devil to say. I said to her, I gave you the bargain of your life. I said, don't I get a kiss? And she looks at me. And she looks at me and her girlfriend, and they want to leave. They're late for dinner, and the girlfriend is holding her back. And she says something to her girlfriend, and she starts walking towards me. And she says, of course you do. And she walks back to me, and I'm standing there. And she kisses me, and I hold her tight, and I won't let her go because Kevin is walking down the aisle. And she doesn't know what to do. And I'm holding her. And she says to me, we really have to get to dinner. And I said, oh, my God, I said, look at this. And she's looking around. What? My friend Kevin is here. And Kevin comes running literally towards us. He saw me holding her. And he pulls out a photo. He said, Nichelle, I need to get you autographed this photo. And, she's with me, and I'm still holding her. So her girlfriend is walking toward the booth, and Kevin has her sign the photo. And she says, we really have to go to dinner. And Kevin says, let me take a photo of you. And he takes a photo of, gives me the camera. He says, could you take a photo of me with Nichelle? I take a photo of Kevin. Kevin says to me, now let me get a photo of you with Michelle. And he takes a photo of me with Michelle. Do you know the only photo I have of me with any person at any show is the one with Nichelle?
Wait, do you have a picture of you and Kevin and her together?
I have a picture of me and Nichelle together. I don't know where I have it, but I know I got it somewhere. But here's the end of the story. Okay? 10 years later, I'm working on animated movies. In 2002, 2004, I was hired to do an animated movie with Henry Rollins. And my wife at the time is the director, and I'm the producer. And so we're going to make an animated movie for Independent Film Channel for the Henry Rollins show. And Danny DeVito is in the movie. Okay, and we made a 5-minute movie called Method Acting. And then we went on to make another 8 movies. I think we made maybe 7 movies altogether for Henry Rollins. And they were all about, 3, 4, 5 minutes each. Okay? And right after we finished the Henry Rollins show, I saw an ad on Craigslist. And the ad said, wanted 2D animator to make a movie for, I forget the name, Phi Delta something or something. I don't remember the name. And it said, we are the world's first African-American sorority. And all I could think of was, wow, I wonder if that's the one that Nichelle was in. And it turns out it was. And when I called the people and told them that I knew Nichelle, and we wrote back and forth, we got the job to do the animation for the 100th year anniversary for Nichelle's sorority. And that blew me away.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. I never saw the show, but I saw the animated pieces that Simona directed, and they were beautiful.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and join our Facebook group. Live long, and may the force be with you. Nanu Nanu.